But thank you for doing this again. I really
Very
appreciate it.
welcome. Maybe we can get a different one out. Now you'll have 8 minutes instead of four, right?
What's your philosophy for creating positive relationships?
I think learning about them, listening. I think it's really important to actively listen when someone speaks. Um, see, I love people though. I like people and I enjoy that. Some people, and I can tell when they don't enjoy it. So I have to also adapt to that. Because everyone is different and everyone has their what makes them tick. I always like to know what makes them tick. Like where do they get their motivation? What's important to them?
Mhm.
Uh, which I think is really, I think that's huge. Like I listened to your self podcast or whatever you call it, and just to learn about you. And I could tell that. How old are you right now? Because you're not very old. You can tell what you're going through.
I'm 20.
20. So that's why when you talk about your authentic self, when you talked about these different things that you think are important, the mental health. Mental health is a big subject now. It wasn't for a long time, but it is now. Uh, but what do you think's like for a 20-year-old? What do you think? What do you think they need the most? You've been talking with a lot of young people. I know you talk to others as well, though.
Yeah, I think 20-year-olds need the confidence to be themselves and pursue what feels authentic to them without focusing on what society expects.
I
I
agree with
feel
you.
it.
The main thing, I guess at 20, I'm trying to think at 20. Of course, I wish I were 20 today than when I was 20. It's better than this, especially for the authentic aspect, I think. Um, it's important to accept whoever you are and love yourself no matter what. Um, but what do you think could help 20-year-olds the most? Like, so you're thinking about being your authentic self, you're thinking about
Mhm.
mental health, right? They go together. They go together like really well.
Yes. I mean, I think people need authentic figures to follow.
Mhm.
That's really what draws me to you and why I look up to you so much because you're just so fully yourself from my perspective. And that's why I wanted to interview you and share it with people that follow my podcast because I feel like they need a perspective like yours.
Well, one thing about being old, I'm 80 now, is you do have perspective. That is the one advantage we have. It's probably the only advantage we have because you can't run as fast, you don't walk real well, you can't, I mean, it's all these little things going up and down stairs, just little physical activities. You cannot believe the difference. Balance,
Hmm.
uh, you got to keep working at it. That's why actually you guys playing hockey is great. I always think about that. Oh, they'll be balanced, they'll be fine. And I think also it's going to be all right. Sometimes I know I used to just be in such anguish, it's not going to be okay, but it is okay.
Hmm.
It's going to be all right. And sometimes it's not going to be all right either. I mean, if someone finds out they're not going to live much longer because of their health or whatever, that's why I think it's so important to live each day. Um, like I have trouble going to sleep at night because I don't want the day to end. Since I've been a child, I think life goes too fast. I thought I had a sense of urgency at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And
Hmm.
when I had my epiphany when I was 12 of I was going to be, champion equality, I knew that I would just be a blink in history. But could I help us go forward just a little bit? Maybe. Um, then it was worth it to me. But we're only here for a moment. So I wanted to make the best of it every moment. But I don't think a lot of young people around me, they kind of thought what I was doing, they didn't understand. But the kids today understand, like if you say I play hockey, I mean, I said I went to a tennis tournament on the weekend and they're going, well, why'd you do that? Why didn't you come to our slumber party? They just had no understanding of all what my dream was. None.
Hmm.
Um, unless it was another athlete, then they did, or maybe somebody that wanted to be president of the United States or something, but otherwise they didn't get it. I said, no, it's a tournament in England, like I want to win Wimbledon, for instance, or something. And I go, it's really fun, get to travel,
Mhm.
uh, things like that. That's another thing I wanted to do is travel and meet people and go all over the world. And one thing when I started tennis, I realized that was part of the deal because I love history. I think it's really important for young people to know history. I
Mhm.
don't think they like it that much. Do you think most people your age like history at all?
I would agree with you. I think they don't like it, but I think if you can find something that's important to them and they can learn the history of that, that's important and that will motivate them to learn history about everything.
Well, you know the history of hockey. You're in hockey. Do you even know the history?
I think I know the history.
Like
There's
I know I
definitely
don't. I need to learn.
there's things I don't know. I don't know a lot
Do you
about
know the NHL
everything.
history? That's men, but do you know the NHL history at all? Like 1917 is when it started with 6 teams. Do you know that?
I don't know the NHL history now. I've
Yeah.
honestly have just focused on more the women's game, but
Uh-huh.
of course I need to learn more and I love to learn, but sometimes it's overwhelming because there's so much I want to learn and I feel like there's so little time.
Well, women's history, I don't know enough about the other leagues, probably. That'd be one of my weaknesses. But I was reading the history because when Kendall Coyne came to Lana and me, Lana's my wife,
Mhm.
and said, would you help us? We're in business, we're in sports business. We said, well, what do you want? And she said, well, the top players are not going to play the other leagues because we've tried through the years. And so the first question I asked was, do you have an association? Because the top players have to stick together. I said, the very top, I mean, like the first 200 or whatever, have
Mhm.
to stick together. And they looked at me and said, no, we've never really thought about it.
Yeah.
I said, well, that's the most important thing you have to. And then Lana stepped up and just did hours and hours and hours to help them. And then we went and convinced Mark Walter to invest. I thought about it long and hard because when I ask someone to invest that has a lot of money, they're,
Mhm.
billionaire, multi-billionaire, that I want them to make a return on their investment. Otherwise, I don't want to ask them. And that's tough for women's sports because we're so far behind.
Mhm.
But I felt there was a huge need because every story I heard was your story, basically, that you and your brothers play. It's a family thing. It is expensive. There's not enough girls of color in it, which I've told the other players before they started. If you don't, if you don't work on getting girls of color, then I don't want to be involved. I was
Mhm.
very clear on that. And they said, no, no, we need to do that. We know that. I said, okay. So they're worrying about it. So they formed an association, which was amazing. Um, and I think you had somebody on, who did you have on that was with, she was a player. Was it? Uh, Alyssa's, yeah, Alyssa.
Yeah, I've had Alyssa Sleesman.
Sleesman's on, and she was part of that. She was part of the PWHPA.
Mhm.
That's the association we're talking about. And
Yeah.
she's, um, and I think she was on the US national team, right?
Mhm.
Um, that was amazing they did that because I talked to them about sticking together. The top ones have to stick together. That's
Mhm.
what we did in tennis when we formed our association, and it's made a huge difference. And then they ended up doing a CBA, which is a collective bargaining agreement. So Mark hired them as employees for a while, so they could become a CPA, to have an employment collective bargaining agreement.
Mhm.
And that's how it got started. But it was a long process. It was 6 years. And these things don't just happen. And every time I go to anything, I try to find out about it. Like, oh, well, Wimbledon. Okay. I was a kid, 12 years old. I learned all the tennis history I could. I
Mhm.
learned it like crazy. And it helped me to lead when I got to a point when I was older to start the association, to do all these things because I knew about the history. I met all the past champions. And I probably know champions from tennis for at least over 100 years now. I met them personally. And I ask, you know, and just listen to their stories. They're so funny. Oh my God. I'm sure the hockey players are the same. Hilarious. They're just hilarious. But you learn, you know, I just kept learning. And also I talked to the business people. So I own tournaments since 1968.
Mhm.
Was it fun? No, it wasn't fun. If we lost money, my prize money was going right into the budget. But was it exciting? Yes. And I wanted to create opportunities. But so you have to decide what's important to you. But the hockey players have been unbelievable how they stuck together. And this first year was amazing on the PWHL. Well, you were there. It was 8,000 people going crazy.
Mhm.
And we could have had more. We sold out. I mean, we could have had more people. We had over 21,000 in Montreal twice, and they sold out in 10 minutes. So there's a real need for women's hockey. That means that people want it. And I knew they would, because if you listen to the families, the guys play, but the sisters want to play. It's so
Mhm.
obvious. Kendall was the same way. She used to go with her older brother, and then they wanted her to do figure skating. I mean, I keep hearing the same story with a lot of them. And so, you know, all these players, but anyway, they've been great and they've stuck together, because the Canadians and Americans are usually against each other. You know, they're kind of always at it. But I told you last time about the border. This time it connects you, doesn't divide you, of Canada and US. It's a connector, not a divider, if you're going to go with the PWHL. You have to think that way. And they have. They've literally, I mean, they've embraced it. They're doing it. These, I don't know. I told them, you may never be remembered, but you'll know you were the first and you were the pioneers. And they always talk about the future generations. And the first two generations in sports is usually we did this or that. And by the third generation, it's usually I. So let's see what happens. It's the same every place. So it's probably going to be that. This generation is all about we want to do this for the future generations and all that. The second, that generation will do the same. They'll say we, but you watch what happens to the third generation. You'll be young enough and you'll be alive to see it. I won't, but just see if they say start saying I a lot instead of we. Although it's such a team sport, that should help keep it to, be a we.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I got off on a tangent. Sorry about that.
That's okay. What's your vision for the future of gender equality in sports, and what do you think are some changes we need to make to get there?
Oh boy. Sports are a microcosm of society anyway. They reflect what's going on in real life. Men's sports also reflect what's going on, why they make so much more money. They have more media content. It's all about them. Men have run sports, so it's all about them. It's about themselves. We want to see ourselves. And so the women have a long way to go. But just think of hockey, okay? If the NHL started in 1917 and the women started in 2024, we're over 100 years behind right there.
Mhm.
So we're just a reflection of receiving less money in other jobs, uh, not at very high positions. Like there's very few women who are CEOs of companies. But the senior women in companies, 94% identify with being an athlete. So I know sports create leaders and create doers and create problem solvers. And that's why I want girls to take up sports. I don't care if they're any good, but to learn the culture of business, to learn the language, the culture that they're going to have to deal with if they want to be in business. And more girls do want to and have to.
Mhm.
So I think sports are amazing. The reason, like in everything else, the reason we don't make the money is that our media rights are terrible. Most of the time in the past, well, let's take the NBA or even college sports. Let's take basketball in college. They'll go out and get a sponsorship for the men, and then they say to the sponsor, oh, but we'll throw the women in for free. And that's the way they keep thinking about us. And that's now starting to stop and starting to shift, where people know that on our own we can get sponsorship. Can you imagine women's collegiate basketball not getting sponsorship on their own with Caitlin Clark? They had more people than they've ever had for college. So the ratings are better than the men's, and all of a sudden that makes a big difference to men, obviously. So that's going to help, that it's going to be about investing and not be a charity. But we have to stop always throwing us in for free. And it has started to stop now. That's huge. Even with the women's hockey, the PWHL, we're selling for the women's hockey. We're not selling for men's hockey and then saying, oh, but we're going to throw the women in for free. No, they're separate entities. You know, they're making the money for the men, but we're going out and getting sponsorship for the women. And that's it. That's what they're buying. And they want to buy it now. They 10, 20 years ago, they didn't want to that much, not as much. So it's really, really hard. And you have to keep, every generation has to make it better. And that means in women's hockey, you have, each generation has to keep improving it and building on the past. Because really every generation is like a stepping stone, but we need media rights to go up. We're like at about 14% right now, which is really a lot. It used to be 4% most for my life. My lifetime, it's been none to 4%. And about 4 years ago, it went to 5%, and now we're up to 14%. So it's just starting to really go now. It's just now. And I'm glad I'm still alive to see it, because I didn't know if I would be. And I still kept working for it, but obviously along with others. But it's been great. It's been great, but very slow for me. If like I want it yesterday. And I know for you, I hope it will go faster than it has for me.
We'll see.
I don't know. We will see.
Yeah.
Have you thought about being in business, part of
I have,
hockey? I know
yes,
you
I
want to do
have.
the coaching, you said maybe a camp.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the business side of hockey.
That'd be great. We could use you. Because also you do the podcast, you think a lot, which is great. So what makes you, what's your position in hockey? What position do you play? You
I play
play,
defense.
right, you said that before, yeah. Why do you play defense? Is that where your strength is?
When I was younger, I used to play forward and then I switched to defense
Because
because I don't know why, actually. My coach put me there and then that's
your
where I
coach put
played.
you there.
Yes. And so
Did you want to go there when your coach put you there or not?
I think I did want to go there, yes. And I think my strengths do lie there. So I think it has worked out well.
I don't know what your strength is. I know nothing about hockey.
My strengths are skating. And when I played forward, I would skate the puck a lot. And so now as a defenseman, I kind of have the different skill sets a forward might have, but I also am a defenseman. So it's kind of
Right.
a combination.
Are you supposed to keep the blade on the ice most of the time? Is that correct or not?
Yes, I would say that's correct to a degree.
Because they keep saying to me, people in hockey
Mhm.
say the women don't keep their blades on the ice enough compared to the guys. And I go, okay, I don't know anything. I'm just watching. And then now I've started watching the guys to see if I can see the difference
Mhm.
or not. But why do they want the blade to be on the ice? So you're always ready for the puck or what?
I think I think it gives you more of a tactical advantage. You're just always ready. If your skate's in the air, you can't pivot or transition
Right.
or react. So I think it probably stems from that.
Yeah, that sounds right. You're ready. That's what I thought. Ready,
Exactly.
do whatever you have to do, plus receive the puck and be ready with it.
Correct.
Do you think we should make the puck a little lighter or not? There's been some discussion about that.
I don't think we should.
You don't,
Think
but
no, I'm not sure. What's
but
your
the reason they
position?
want to do it, this one person talked to me about it, and I'm always interested, is that if it were just slightly, like I think an ounce or something, what is it, 5.5 ounces or something? What is it? How much? What is it? I don't know, whatever it is. If
Yeah.
we take an ounce or even part of an ounce away, that the women could flick it better, like the guys could kind of just flick it up faster and easier. Because anyway, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Hmm.
So it's another
I haven't
discussion.
I haven't heard that before. That's interesting to think about.
Well, this is from Jana, um,
Mm.
who's
Yes.
who's Heifer, who's just amazing. She was a
Mhm.
Hall of Famer, but she just said, "What do you think?" I said, "She's asking me like dumbo here. I don't know enough about hockey, but I understood the weight aspect."
Mhm.
I understood what you meant, and I thought that would be a very interesting thing. But like in the WNBA, the ball's slightly smaller because our hands aren't as big as the guys in general. So I don't know. I'm always open to anything because I think sometimes change does, if it makes the sport better and makes the women look better, then I'd be all for it. I don't
That's a
know.
good point. I don't
I-
think that's a bad idea.
So I don't know. I'd love your opinion and your age group opinion. I mean, I think everybody should think about it. Why not? Jane is
Absolutely.
brilliant, by the way. She heads up the association, the union.
Yeah,
She's, and every player said, because Ilana asked, well, who should lead you? Who should be your leader? Every single player, Canadian, American, I don't care where they're from,
Mhm.
Jana Hefford, just boom, like that.
Wow,
So, and she's been amazing. She's all-time great.
that's
In
incredible.
business, was all-time great on the ice. She's got the goods, but she's the one that asked me about that. So I think it came from her.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
But I'd love to know your opinion on that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it would be great. If it would help the women and help get more eyes on the game, I think it would be wonderful.
Mhm. What do you think sports do for you?
For me, sports give me the confidence to pursue things on the ice and off the ice. I think sports have taught me how to lead and how to speak up, but I'm still learning that because that's kind of my biggest weakness is using my voice, and sports push me to do that more. And I think that's where I have such an appreciation for hockey and sports in general.
Is that why you're doing this podcast, trying to face your fears?
Yes, that is one of the reasons I started it because when I was younger, I really struggled to talk to people. And now I interview people I don't know pretty regularly. And so, yeah, that's a big reason why I started this to force myself out of my comfort zone.
That's great. Congratulations on doing that, because a lot of people wouldn't have the guts to do it. But don't you think sports helps us have the guts to do other things? I do.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I have a question.
I want proper closure.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
How can women advocate for themselves and stop being happy getting the crumbs?
The main thing is to ask for what you want and need. And I think it's important to know why we're like that. You know, why? I mean, the boys are taught to be brave and we're taught to be perfect. Well, we're always think we're coming up short. That's why our confidence is lower. That's
Mhm.
why we don't ask for what we want. We never think we're quite good enough. Look at every message we get is we're not quite good enough. And you really should be happy with the crumbs. And of course, I go around saying, screw that. We want the cake, the icing, and the cherry on top, the whole 9 yards. And boys have to be brave, which is totally unfair. So if we can just get rid of the perfect, get rid of the brave, let's start over. In general, women, I think I told you before, are hired on performance. Like they'll say, well, what did you make before? Let me see what you've done. So they basically are talking about the past. Whereas when they look at a guy, they look at themselves. They go, oh, this kid reminds me of how I was when I was young, and I can mentor him and bring him along, and so the boy or the man is getting hired on potential. So what I'm asking every CEO to do, and everybody,
Mhm.
that they hire all of us on potential, not just the boys. And once you tell people that, you can see their wheels turning and going, I never thought of it like that. So and sometimes um, the women have to really stand up though for what they want to. Don't be happy with, thank you. Usually a woman's told, okay, I can give you X or Y, or the woman goes, oh, thank you so much. Are you kidding me? First of all, try to find out what everybody else is getting in the market, and ask for it, and ask for more if you want, or ask for incentives. Ask people what they've done. Ask older people. Get a mentor or more than one. And don't get a mentor that's just going to be your friend. Get a mentor that can help you and push you, even though sometimes it's not fun. But get somebody that can help you learn and to maneuver. But the most important thing in life is relationships, and that means business as well. Like your hockey team, your best friends, your parents, or your family. It's relationships are everything. So that's why it's important to get a mentor that's going to push you a little and teach you what the next steps are. So sometimes it's not so much fun, but it's good to know, and they push you and it makes you think about things and how you do something differently the next time. That's what sports teaches too.
Hmm.
If I keep hitting the ball in the net, I better figure it out.
Absolutely. I have one more question. Is that okay?
Yeah, one more and then I do have to go because of
Okay,
time,
sure.
unfortunately.
It's about Alana. What has she taught you about love?
About love,
Yeah.
I think the most important thing with another human being is your values have to be pretty much the same. We have very much the same values. Um, Lana is extremely loyal, consistent. Um, Too often, I think she takes a back seat. I'm always trying to push her forward. Um, but she gets a lot of the business done that I don't. But as far as love, it's really it's a constant. It's 24/7. No matter how tough things get, we try to listen to each other. We can argue a lot, and we don't care. Like we don't take it personally. We just move on.
Hmm.
Unless we're really upset, then we talk about it, and and try to find a quiet time if you can do that, which for us is not so easy. But we do love the same things, and that really helps. She was number one in the world in doubles. Her dad was a salesperson who had no salary, only made money on commissions, and he was always the number one salesperson. And so I always tease her that you got it from your dad because she can sell. She's unbelievable. But it's because of her relationship with all the clients that's so important. She goes way beyond what you have to. You have to keep servicing them. You have to keep checking in. You have to. These aren't written rules. These are just human being rules that you can feel, and every person's got a different personality. So you have to adjust to that person. But with us together, we both love business, um, and we love doing it together. And I'm the dreamer, and I think I kind of dream it. She builds it, um, but it's really fun to do it together. We are very good at working together. A lot of people cannot last one day doing that, and if you can't, don't work together. Each person have their own job, but we really enjoy working together because we love women's sports. We love to see things happen. Uh, we love the people in women's sports and men's sports, actually, because we're part owners of the Dodgers as well. And we love that. And my younger brother played 12 years of professional baseball, so that's easy for me and with the Dodgers. So um, no, but I think love is really listening and giving. It just and don't take things personally. God, that will get you into more trouble if you take things personally. You
Hmm.
can take it personally for like 5 seconds, but think about it and then let go and learn from it. Um, I don't know. What do you think about that? Taking things personally?
I think it's important to not take
Yeah,
things personally, definitely. I
because
think
because it's about them. They're saying it.
absolutely.
Like it doesn't mean it's true anyway.
Yes.
And I think it's hilarious. It's hilarious, actually. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
No, but I think love is about truth as well. Your truth. It's just living your truth,
Hmm.
authentic selves, which we went through a hard time with that.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks a lot and good luck. I hope I get to see you again.
I hope I get to see you again
Yeah,
also. I
and congratulations on being rookie of the year. It's in hockey too. That was great.
thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you for your
Oh,
time.
yeah, you're very welcome. Good luck. Okay, keep going for it.
Thank you. Thank you,
All right,
Billy.
bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.